If you've searched for the best survivor build, you've undoubtedly found many different videos with many different builds using all kinds of meta perks. And while I will go over some of those meta perks in this video, this is more of a guide on how to craft the best build for you. To do this, we will categorize perks into 4 groups: chase perks, info perks, reset perks, and finally altruism/gen perks. Chase perks would be any perks that benefit you in a chase, helping you evade the killer. Some examples would be sprint burst, off the record, and dead hard. Info perks would be any perks that give you information about the trial. Some examples would be bond, object of obsession, and kindred. Reset perks would be any perks that allow you to reset after a chase or unhook. Some examples would be self-care, boon, circle of healing, and inner strength. Altruism or gen perks would be any perks that help you either with altruistic or gen-related activities. Some examples would be will make it, prove thyself, and botany knowledge. Now, while some of these perks will lend themselves more obviously to a category, there is no objective placement of a perk in any specific category. If you find a specific perk helps you in a category it might not traditionally be placed in, that is okay. For instance, you could make a case for Object of Obsession, which I listed as an info perk, to instead be a chase perk for you, or both. Our next step is to make a build. My recommendation is to choose one perk from each category. Our focus being in the first 3 and then choosing between either an altruism or gen perk. The reason being is that our first 3 perks will help you survive, which is our priority, while our last perk will be about our secondary objectives. Let's make a build together. For a chase perk, some front runners would be the exhaustion perks. Let's go with a classic, sprint burst. For an info perk, let's do bond. For a reset perk, let's take self-care. And for our altruism or gen perk, let's go with an altruistic perk and take we'll make it. So we have sprint burst to help us in our chases, bond to give us info on teammates around us, self-care if we are isolated and need to reset, and we'll make it for speedy unhook heals. Our next step would be to test it. Our metric for success won't be escapes, as this has too many variables from killers to teammates and even variations in our own play. Instead, we will base it off of how good something feels. The more data, the better, but for ease, let's say test your build over 5 games. After 5 games, what felt good? What felt bad? Maybe we really enjoyed Bond as our info perk, constantly feeling in the loop on our teammates. Okay, great, we'll keep that. Sprint Burst, however, felt not so great. We kept accidentally running and using it, or being forced to walk, so we wouldn't use it. Okay, we'll look into changing that one. Furthermore, we didn't feel like we got much value out of self-care. We either always found someone else to heal us, or it felt like it took way too much time to heal ourselves. As well as, we didn't hook save very much, so let's switch from our altruism perk to a gen perk. Let's have a look at our revised build. We didn't enjoy Sprint Burst, so let's switch to another chase perk. Let's try Live. We decided that our reset perk wasn't cutting it for us, so we dropped that slot completely, and instead we'll take a second chase perk to help where we feel weakest. Let's take Finesse. We found that we were less altruistic than we previously thought and want to try out being a gen jockey, so let's take Prove Thyself. Our revised build is Live, Finesse, Bond, and Prove Thyself. So now we have 2 chase perks, an info perk, and a gen perk. Rinse and repeat this process as needed. You could end up with 4 chase perks, or maybe 4 altruism perks. Ultimately, it's whatever you feel is necessary. Now, I know that sounds like a cop-out, but following this framework, it is going to give you a better idea of what help you need and where you need it. Categorizing perks in this fashion will give you an idea of where you are feeling that extra stress and how to alleviate it. In conclusion, we have 4 categories of perks: chase perks, info perks, reset perks, and altruism/gen perks. We will make a build using one of each. After some testing, we will decide if we want to make any swaps and if we need to double down in any category. Our revised build might look something like chase, info, altruism/gen perk. We continue this process, refining our perks along the way. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. If you came up with any builds using this process, please let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this content, please make sure to like and subscribe. As well as check out the description for my Twitch and Discord links. I stream 6 days a week at 8 p.m. Central, mostly DBD. Alright, I love you. Have a good one.